and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be working on an aesthetic background for your computer or electronic device. This is the image that we'll be creating. Let's get started. Today we're going to make an aesthetic background, much like the one you see here, where you're able to drop your folders and keep them organized under certain names, or you can just make this a mood board style. There's many different options. It's certainly up to what you like. So let's get started. I'm just going to start by opening an internet browser, and there's a couple ways you can get inspiration. I like to get inspiration by going to Pinterest and starting there, and I do a search on things that I like. And I'm certainly going to use the word aesthetic as my first part, and then I want to go tropical. So I'm looking for a tropical aesthetic theme. I'm just going to pull off a couple images over here to the side to give me some inspiration as I go along that I can just glance at and decide if those are things that I want to do. And some of the pictures, I have a hard time getting them to load. As you saw, I had deleted that last one. But I just drag and drop them over to the side to give me a little inspiration. And I think I really like the leaves and the palm trees. So then all I'm going to do, I'm going to keep those there as my inspiration. And I'm going to make it to where I can just keep looking at them over here off to the right and make my desktop as big as I can for working purpose. And then I go into Canva. Canva is a wonderful designer's app to create all your digital media. You can do business cards, postcards, thank you notes, Instagram posts, Facebook. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click Create Design. Now if you're going to be working on one of these things, there's a whole list here of things that you can start with. But I want to create a custom size because I want it to fit my backdrop. So I'm working on a MacBook Air, and I'm going to start by putting in my measurement, which happens to be 1980 by 1100 is what I like for myself. Here you can see that you have a blank sized canvas that we're just going to start building on. And I like to start with my background first. So over here on the left hand side, I'm going to click the word elements. And I know I want to go tropical, so I'm going to do green and white background. And I just want to look for something that's not too busy. This one might work. That doesn't have a lot of movement in it because I want to be able to add my own texture. So as I scroll through here, I'm just going to look, and I really think I like that one there. I'm going to go ahead and click it. If I find something else, I can change it. I think that's going to be my best option for now. And as this goes, sometimes I change it up a whole lot, and I just add the elements, and I can make those changes later. So now that I have what I think I want to be my backdrop, I'm going to right click on it, and down here on the bottom, I'm going to set as image background. Now I don't want this to be the focal point of my project, so I do want to click on it and come up here right underneath the word download to this checkered flag look. That is your transparency, and I want to take this down because I want it to be in the background and not in the forefront. From here, I like to go in and start adding my elements and my pieces. So I'm going to click the word elements again to clean out, and right here is going to be your lines and shapes. I'm going to click See All on this so that I can start creating my boxes. I like to use circles and squares, so I just put one of each, and I can change these into rectangles and ovals. You can see when I hover over items, the word free, and as you move along and we start building this, you may sometimes see an element that has a crown and says Pro account. Canva does have an abundance of items and things that you can create and do under their free account. I do, however, have a Pro account because I use it so much. And so all of the items that they offer are available to me to use. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to start changing these colors to make them coordinate with what I'm working on. And when you click on the colors, which is right here in your screen, if you scroll down, you will see there's my photo I imported, and here's the color palette that it has created for my photo. So I'm going to start with going into, I want a dark and a light version, and I like these two. So I'm also going to create a circle and a square of each color. So I'm just going to copy and paste this one, and I'm going to turn it to the darker, to the darker color. And I'm going to do the same with the square. And I'm going to turn that square to the lighter color. And then I know that I want a rectangle, so I'm going to change this one to a rectangle. Now on my device, when I do a screenshot or do a new download and save it to my desktop, it always appears in the upper right hand corner. So I like to create a block here that either is called screenshots or downloads, and that way they'll all feed in this little block for me. I'm going to have this one become an oblong, almost a square, but not quite. I'm going to keep this a circle, but I do want to resize it just a bit. And this one I'm going to turn into an oval. And I'm just getting my layout going for what I think I want this to look like. So I'm going to scoot these in just a bit. Now I want to add some elements to this. I'm going to go back to my elements, and I want some tropical leaves. So I'm going to go in and search for which ones I like. As you can see, there's lots, and I'm playing off that with my inspiration pictures that I originally chose. I like this one. I'm going to get it sized here. Okay, I think it needs to be just a tad bit smaller. And then I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put another one right here on the bottom. And you see my snapping guides. Do you see those red dotted lines? This program does have snapping guides, which makes it very convenient to line things up. And now I'm just going to, oh, sorry, wrong button. I'm going to flip this one so that it's going the other way, and I'm going to snap it right into place with the others so that I know that they're all lined up. I like how that looks. We'll go with that. I also want to apply a little leaf in this bottom corner. I think I need this to be just a little bit bigger. I'm going to snap this in here, and I'm going to make this one just a tad bigger. And And I do want to place, let's go with this leaf. I'm going to change the color of this element simply by going to our color block, and I'm going to make it white. And then I'm also going to flip my leaf so that my point is going to be more down in the corner. And this is literally just giving my piece more aesthetics, creating more instead of just having plain green blocks. Now I also love my inspiration picture down here that has some palm trees. And so I'm going to go in and I'm going to find some palm trees that I like. Let's go with these ones. And again, I'm going to change these to keep with my green and white aesthetics. And I'm going to change them to white. And I'm going to put these ones here on my oval. But I don't want them so bright white. So I'm going to select them and go back up here to this transparency block. And I'm going to bring the transparency on them down. I think we'll bring the transparency, oh, that one's good. We don't need to change that one. So now I really like the way this is looking. I'm going to go ahead and add the names of my blocks. So I'm going to go over back to the left-hand side. I'm going to hit the word text. Now, because I have my branding kit loaded into Canva, I can just click on my heading and it's going to give me a text box, and it's going to be in the fonts that I use with my brand. You can set that option up on your own once you create your Canva account. And I'm going to start with, let's call one box social media. So I typed in the word social media. I'm immediately going to go up here and change my font size by just clicking on the box. And I'm going to change my font color. Again, I want to stay in the palette that I'm working in. And I like to kind of offset them sometimes off of the block. If you see my desktop here, you can see my cut and print is not directly on the block. It's just what I like to do. You do what makes you happy. So I like that one there. And then I'm going to hit text box again. I'm going to hit heading. It's going to pop up that box. I'm going to make this circle one be for my personal. It's going to be all the folders that I have that pertain to my personal life and not business related items. So again, I'm going to move it. I'm going to allow it also to be above. I'm going to go to my color and I'm going to change that one to white as well. And then I have two boxes, but one last focal box that I want to name. So I'm going to click add a heading, and I'm going to use this one as inspiration. And I'm going to change the font size. Well, that didn't change it very much. I'm going to change the font color again. Oh, what did we do? There we go. And we're going to move this to that text box. And now the last one that I want to create something for is this one that, remember, I called it kind of my screenshot area. So I'm going to go ahead and do a smaller bit of text. And you see it pops it in really tiny, but I'm going to call this screenshots. I'm going to change my font size. It doesn't ever get really big for that box. So I'm going to go ahead and move it over. And then again, I'm going to keep with my aesthetics and I'm going to change it to white. So now I have all of my basics, and here is where you can either put a bunch of fun little quirky stuff in your spaces. You can put a quote, you can start putting some arrows, whatever it is you like. all I want to do is I want to put a little, kind of just a short bit here in the bottom or a quote. And Canva has some great tools here, font combinations that they like to do together. It's either 2 separate or 3 separate fonts that go well together aesthetically, or even effects, because you can change the effects on your font. So one that I like to use sometimes is this kind of neon looking one. So the first thing I'm going to do is change it to the words I want it to say. And so I'm going to go with the word process for the bottom word, and I need to change the size. Let's see, I just play with it until it fits on one line. I think about 190 is going to work. No, let's go 175. There we go. And then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to put trust the. So we're going to trust the process. And now you can see it's all kind of together. I do want to move this though. I like it to have just a tiny bit difference of a look. So I need to select all of this and I need to ungroup this. So I'm going to take the trust the, and I kind of want it to spread out and be smaller. So we're at 82. I'm going to knock it down to 64. And I think I'm going to set it there. So I'm going to reselect both of these and I'm going to group them back together, the 3 dots and group. And I'm just going to move it down here. I'm not going to size it just yet because I do need to make it aesthetically blend with the whole project. So I'm going to go into my colors and I'm going to start to change them and see what's going to work the best for me. I think I might need some darker colors here. And those are turning it pretty teal, or not quite as green as I want it to be. So let's play with this just a bit. I like that. I want to change this trust. I like that. You see how that blends really well with both of the pieces, or the whole piece, I'm sorry. And I'm just going to size it to go down here in the corner. And I know that you don't see it really well now, but when it's blown up on your desktop, you'll see it much better. It'll be much more visible for your eye, and you'll be able to read it much better than you do here. Now, the only thing I think I want to do, I don't want to make this too busy. I really love the way it looks, but I want to add a little texture in behind all of this. So I'm going to go back over here to the right-hand side. I'm going to click Elements, and I'm going to search Texture. Now, any textures like this, and here's that word Pro that I was talking about. Any textures like this, you can change the colors on, but things such as this, you can't change the color, so it will be what it is. So I'm looking for texture that I can change the color on. And I kind of just want a real scratchy looking texture. So let me click white texture and see if that's not going to help. Let me go back to just the word texture. And I want something that's not too busy, but it's going to give me a good amount of texture in the background. And I know what I'm looking for. It's something I've used in the past. Now, there is a way you can search things you've used in the past, and I can show you that. I might show you that to save us time. It's almost like this, but not quite as thick in color that I'm looking for. I'm really looking for kind of a grungy background. Let's go back to the word elements. And you see here recently used, if I click see all, you'll be able to see the elements I have used. And here is the element that I'm looking for. Now I'm going to place it, and I'm going to do 4 blocks. So I'm going to somewhat snap it to the middle or close to, and I'm going to go ahead and copy that to my desktop or to my clipboard, and I'm going to start changing the color. And I really like that lime green. So let's go ahead and snap another one in here, because if I stretch this out too much, I don't want it to get too thick or too busy in my pattern that I'm wanting. And I'm going to change the color of that one, and I'm going to do one more. Actually, I'll do 2 more because I want to be sure that I cover all my areas. And you see I'm playing with the flip just to make sure. You see I finally filled in this bottom piece that I wanted. And then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to stretch it out just a little more. I think I'm going to flip it because here on this, I don't want that dark right there on that edge. I like that much better. And now I'm going to send all of them, we're going to click the word position, and I'm going to send all of them to the back. So each one of these that I did are going to go to the back. So it's literally going behind all of my elements that I have on my screen, sending them all to the back. So now they are no longer on top of any of my boxes or designs, but they're a little brighter than I'd like them to be. So I am going to start adjusting them down. It looks like 52 might be a good point. Oops, transparency. You can certainly just type 52 in there or click and drag it as I am. So you can just type 52 and hit enter. And this last one we need to change. And then I click off of it and kind of just take a look. And I'm pretty happy with the way this looks. It's simple, yet it gave me that tropical look that I was going for. I want to see if I brighten up my background, if I like it anymore. So I just want to play with my background and see what I really like. And I think in the 80s, I like that it washes out my brush strokes or my texture just a little more, and I'm done with that. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to the word download, and I'm going to click the word download. Now for your backdrops, you want to click and save it in a PNG. I leave everything else alone, and I click download. And give it just a moment to download. I'm going to save it to my desktop. And there it is. And you see, you can read Trust the Process now very well. And then all you do is set this as your backdrop on your computer and click and drag your folders into each section where they're supposed to be. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have questions, please drop them in the comments. I am active in the comments and will answer all of your questions.